Well, hello and welcome. So we're here today to talk specifically about women's health and wellness and specifically about chiropractic care. I have been joined magically by the wonderful Rachel Jones. So I wanted to talk with Rachel specifically about structural care and how women can look after their bodies over and above exercise, over and above nutrition, and understanding where and when and how we can look after the structural part of our bodies. This, in my opinion, is something that's often overlooked by women just out of sheer ignorance in the true sense, not knowing about how to look after their bodies in this way. And we want to just debunk a few myths. We want to kind of get to the truth about some things and just provide some really good information so that you can figure out if this is something that you need to add into your overall self-care routine. So Rachel is here, and she's here to answer all the questions that you've been telling me and I've been asking specifically in my tribe and online. I often would record videos that I've been to a particular practitioner, or I've gone and got an adjustment, and I've had people ask me, well, what does that mean and how does that work? So we're just going to do it today. We're just going to talk about it. So hello, Rachel.
Hi.
Rachel, introduce yourself to our lovely people. Tell us a little bit about your journey into being a chiropractor and the training you had to go through, that sort of thing.
Sure. So I've been a chiropractor now since 2006, and it was 4 years of training. Doing a Bachelor of Science degree in University of Glamorgan, and I got into chiropractic through treating or having my I had a horse and it needed chiropractic. So even horses can benefit from chiropractic.
Yes, in fact, that's what I also love about chiropractic care is, and we're very animal friendly in our tribe. We're very much, I think it comes from being very plant-based and focused on that we tend, and I love that I've actually had a friend's dog who got chiropractic care as well, and horses too, so that's really interesting. So we're not comparing you ladies to horses, we are individual little snowflakes.
We all have
but
spines.
we all have the same spines, and we all have mechanics and how we move, so it's actually really interesting in that way. So what about chiropractic care kind of impassions you? Why do you think that you're on this path yourself?
Well, personally, seeing again from the horse's perspective, you can't BS a horse. It either feels better or it doesn't feel better, and the horse would go from being grumpy, naggy, not wanting to exercise, which I think a lot of people can
relate to. Yeah.
And then the chiropractor would treat the horse, and the horse would be like a different animal, just happy and just out cartwheeling, galloping around the field. So that's kind of what I thought, I want to do that.
See,
that's what I want to do. So then you apply it then to the human anatomy, and it kind of it works.
It works. So, and that's what I also like about chiropractic care. For me, I love the tests and balances of it. Is that as we have a journey of a start, middle, and an end with regards to how we do training and our goals, I like that when you have a treatment with chiropractic care, there's a sense of a journey. You do feel like there's a result at the end, or there is a sense of start, a middle, and an end. And I think that that's kind of really important. So I'm going to move into the juicy questions. The first one being is, what is it to be a chiropractor? What is chiropractic care, and how does it differ maybe from other disciplines that people might have heard of?
Yeah, so chiropractic in kind of the broad sense is that we're looking at somebody's whole body, we're looking at their balance and their alignment. So we want the body to function as well as it can, and the best way to do that is so that you're balanced left and right, so that you're putting equal pressure down through onto your body, through your joints, so that you're developing your body equally, so you're not going to get a stronger side, which is going to create maybe an imbalance, and that side's overworking, and then you can pick up injuries. So trying to, particularly obviously with your ladies who are working out and maybe doing the kind of the kettlebells, which obviously is quite intense, you want to be kind of swinging through, and you want to be as aligned as possible, so that you're not overworking that left side, that left shoulder, and you're picking up a left shoulder injury. And to kind of catch yourself, you're then having to maybe strain for instance, the right side of your lower back. So we're looking, when somebody comes in, yes, we want to know their story that's brought them there, but we also just want to have a good look at their body and see what is their posture like. So chiropractic really is education on what you can do and where your body's at and what we can do to improve it. So that then brings in the hands-on treatment of the chiropractic care, but really then the person going away feeling more aligned and more balanced, and then training into a good alignment and balance so that they can get the best out of their workout if they're working out a lot, or just even as they're sitting or lying in bed or getting up from a chair or whatever, just their day-to-day life, they feel more balanced, they feel more aligned, and they just feel more comfortable. And
and generally I find I feel more energetic, because I feel like when I'm out of alignment, talking about the grumpy horses, you do feel like a grumpy, we use these phrases, bent out of shape, or we say we're feeling bent out of shape, or we feel grumpy, a bear with a sore head. For me, generally, I find that sometimes my out of alignment feelings are headaches or grumpiness or low energy, of which other things can contribute, but sometimes that can also be a trigger. So we're going to come into the question, which I always get asked. Well, actually, I don't get asked this, but this is the question that I think needs asked, which is, how do you know when to go to a chiropractor? Like, when is the right time, or how would you know?
Everybody's a bit different because everybody has a different awareness of their body and their alignment. So for instance, Lisa, you're really attuned with your body and good at knowing that, gosh, yeah, that shoulder feels a bit out of line or whatever, and I can feel that pulling up here, and that's affecting how I'm moving here, so that's pulling maybe down here. Other people are just, we're all very, very busy, we're all maybe a bit stressed, and we're all kind of just a bit up in our heads and our thoughts and thinking, and sometimes it's when we get the hands-on work, even if it's a massage or whatever it is, and kind of going, I didn't even know that was sore, and realizing, my goodness, how many areas of tension or tightness do I have? Or when somebody's stood in front of me and I'm just kind of just gently pointing out, maybe there's a little bit of a slant here and a little bit of a turn there, and all of a sudden people are seeing for the first time almost, although they're with themselves all the time, they've never really looked. And then getting them to feel where that maybe twist or that turn or misalignment is creating a bit of tension, and then they kind of, oh right, oh now I feel it. So I think the more that you feel good, the more you realize that you're out of a line, because you kind of, but if you've always felt maybe a bit sore or a bit tight or a bit twisted, and that's your norm, then also you can become a bit desensitized to what feels good.
I always say when we start with training, and I talk to my beginners in my beginners program, I always talk of the analogy about a car. I use the car analogy, and I say that when you start to do proper strength training and strength and conditioning training, you're basically upgrading your vehicle. Okay, and maybe you didn't realize that this was something that you did, so it's gone from having a car like my car. I drive a micro, and I enjoy the fact that it's an easy car to drive. It doesn't cost a lot to maintain. I don't have to think about it too much. Literally once a year I MOT it, or I do a service, and that's kind of about it. But when you do strength training, you've upgraded your vehicle into a more, a classier vehicle. Maybe I'm driving, I don't know, a Porsche or something, I don't know. But with that comes the extra, maintenance of that, the fuel we talk about. We also talk about the general maintenance, the tires, all that sort of stuff. But then there's a sense of servicing or making sure that the car is running well. And for me, that's when I say that this is when you need to think about how to make sure that your vehicle is working well, and structurally and posturally, that's when I say that that's something that they may need to start thinking about, because as you've hit the nail on the head, when they start to strength train, and I'm very much focused specifically on women, because women are very much in their heads, because we're so busy, we've got so much going on, that we think that if we don't stop thinking, if we stop thinking for a moment, one of these balls is going to fall from the air and we're not going to be able to balance it all. But when we come to exercise, it can be a very meditative thing to do. helps us bring us into our bodies, and we start to learn, and I teach about different muscle groups and what you're engaging. Women then start to notice that, as you say, yeah, hips a bit twingy, back's a wee bit twingy, what's going on? I love the analogy. We were chatting about this a week ago about the tooth analogy. So I'd love you to share that one, because I thought that was really good too.
So basically, when dentistry, have they look after us, and we value dentist kind of care because we value our teeth, and we value the vanity of having nice looking teeth. So we go regularly, we brush our teeth probably twice a day, if not more, and we floss, and we do all this kind of self-care, and we go and see the dentist regardless, and we get our scale and polish. But also sometimes in the run-up to kind of having an appointment, just a general maintenance appointment, we kind of think, my teeth are okay, my teeth actually feel fine. And then you go in and you have maybe a dentist kind of, or the hygienist work on them, and you kind of go, wow, that feels so much better. But they didn't feel that bad, they weren't that painful, but we still benefited, or you still feel the benefit of getting that session. And obviously in the long term, yeah, that helps obviously maintain your dental hygiene. But it's the same thing with your back.
Same thing with your back. So that is the way that we encourage you to think about it, in terms of, I think what tends to happen is with other, health practitioners, is that we kind of wait till something's gone wrong to go and see them. So in our teeth analogy, we wait for the toothache, we wait for the pain, indicator. In my car analogy, we wait for it to break down. And I mean, how many of us jump in a car without checking things? I mean, we kind of all do. I do. So it's trying to figure out, do we want to do that to our own vehicles as well? So the question becomes, rather than waiting until pain, which is an indicator of something being wrong, that's all pain is, something's not working right or functioning well. It's the little flashy light on your dashboard, it's the pulse in your teeth, it's the sore, generally with ladies it's sore hips and backs and shoulders. Rather than waiting for that incident, or actually I have myself and clients, tingliness happening in arms and things like that is another indicator. That is possibly we think a little bit too far down the line of needing to attend to it. That said, if that's where you're at, if you're somebody who is only aware enough to notice when things are wrong in terms of pain, then that is okay too. But what we're trying to encourage here is a proactive way of looking at vehicle maintenance, structural bodies, looking after our bodies from a structural point of view as well. So what else did I want to ask? So in terms of chiropractic care versus maybe a physiotherapist, or maybe you've heard of kinesiologist or osteopath, what do you think, how can you describe, without comparing per se, what is chiropractic care specifically, do you think, to help them to figure out?
There's obviously there'll be some degree of overlap. I guess with chiropractic, as I say, we look at the whole structure and how your alignment of your pelvis affects the alignment of your spine, alignment of your shoulders. So we're interested in the spine and the pelvis because it houses the nervous system, because we're interested in the nervous system functioning at its optimum, because the nerves basically tell the muscles what to do. So if the nerves are irritated or annoyed in any way, then that can irritate and annoy the muscles that those nerves give instruction to. So this is why when we're not looking at, say, just a specific pain point. We're looking at, well, what is the cause of that, and looking to, maybe you might not have lower back or pelvic pain per se, but it might not be functioning too well and causing pain elsewhere. So I don't know, obviously I'm not a physiotherapist or osteopath, and I'm sure those things are considered as well, but I would say just the style of treatment and the techniques that we use, again, there'll be a little bit of overlap, but chiropractic adjustments, I guess, would be the thing that is slightly different to maybe osteopathic adjustments or physiotherapy adjustments. But chiropractic isn't just about the manipulation or the adjustment, which I think when you look on YouTube or if you Google things, right, it's just people
That's what they
getting quack, 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 quack.
Yeah.
And it's not really there. If it's appropriate, there would be some adjusting if it's necessary and if it's something that the patient is happy with. But there's lots of other techniques as well, which isn't about kind of manipulating or cracking. There would be, an awful lot of more gentle kind of techniques as well. So don't let those videos kind of
do
put you
not.
off.
What I like about also the style and why I like working specifically with Rachel is that we're all unique snowflakes. I say this all of the time, and we all have different sensitivities to certain practices. I mean, Rachel has said that, I have been going to get adjustments and visiting different practitioners over maybe the last 10 or 15 years. So I have figured out what ones I prefer and how I like to be treated, and also when a certain instance happens inside my body, what practitioner works better for that, if that makes sense. Why I've created that awareness, but that's taken 10 odd years to figure out how that works. But what I love about what they do here at the Belfast Chiropractic Centre and what Rachel does is that, one, it is very individual. It's a secluded private room. Chiropractic care sometimes goes in different paths with regards to that, and I've chatted to some of my tribe about that. Also, it's individual attention. They want to find out about your own history, what's going on with you, how have you got to this point, what activities do you do in the day. So it's not just, again, one size fits all, come in, and out again. It's very much tailored to what you need, how your body is, where you are at your stage of life, all of those sorts of things. And then it is very much, checking in. Is this okay for us to do this particular adjustment? Or would you be happy for me to do it in this way? And I like that permission-based service, which I think it works very well for female patients specifically, because that's how we want to be treated. I find that sometimes I've gone to different practitioners and I've not had that questioning. I've not been asked. It's just been I've been treated without like that kind of consensual, communication, which I think is really important as well. So don't look up YouTube videos on chiropractic care, ladies. Don't. Ask somebody who's been and has experienced. Speak to the chiropractor yourself. Come in for a consultation. Get to know them. All of those sorts of things. We are Googlers. Googling is beneficial some of the time not. You need to learn the critical thought to be able to work out what works well and what doesn't for you. And I suppose the next thing, and we're going to actually cover this in a video, and I think Rachel's going to give you a little sense of what's going to happen using me as the guinea pig, ladies. Yes, I've stepped forward here, so that you have some idea what's happening. Now, she's not going to show a full treatment because, again, this is what this space is about. It's a safe space and a confidential space. So she's not going to show a full treatment, but I think we're going to get an indication of how she will look posturally and help bring that awareness to myself and you, if you were a patient, of what alignment really means and what that really means, so she can give you an understanding of what happens inside a treatment, because I know that is one of the questions I get. So what are they going to do? What's going to happen when you're in here? And then also we're going to cover in terms of, well, how many sessions do you need, or what are you going to need, which, again, unique little snowflake people, it depends on you and your body and what's going on for you. But I think that's all the questions, the direct questions that we were going to ask today in terms of chiropractic care, what it means and how it's going to help you. I think what we're going to do now is have a look at my structural alignment. Have a look at me. Yeah. And then she's going to give you a little blow by blow of what's going on with my back, so you guys can have a look. And you know what's really interesting? I actually got to the point, and I was chatting to the ladies in the tribe about putting a mirror after our conversation, about trying to put a mirror somewhere in the studio so that we can do it. But what I've actually started to do is I just take photographs of people now. Yep. Is it okay if I take a photograph of you? And what I've noticed is we recently had a challenge where our challenges are, yes, before and after their journeys. We call them body shape change and lifestyle journeys. It's not just about dieting or nutrition or the exercise. It's generally about trying to create healthy habits over a certain period. Yes, it does end up in body change of some description. So we tend to do before and after photos. But what I've realized about before and after photos now is that they're so important to just do it regardless of whether you're looking at what's wobbly and not wobbly or any of those things, because I have one particular client who practiced a lot of yoga, came in, did have a wee bit of a shoulder issue, and I was looking at her shoulder one day, but we were doing before and after photos, and oh my goodness, her alignment after 28 days of strength and conditioning training, which is all about balancing the body, is amazing. Like, I can see the difference in terms of she's more balanced from the top of her body to the bottom of her body. You know, she's just, you can see the alignment. It's undeniable. So I think that this is going to be the way forward, ladies. Is I know it's difficult for us to look at mirror images of ourselves in the moment because we're women and we've got so many psychological things about what that means. But I think it's so important just to check in and have a look and get a sense of that. So that's what we're going to do today.